The following portion of Mass Appeal is sponsored by Fogarty's Home Services.
Our homes rely on proper insulation to keep us cool in the summer and warm in the winter. And if it's not properly installed by a professional, your hard-earned money could be slipping through the cracks. Brendan Fogarty, owner of Fogarty's Home Services, joins me now to explain. How's it going today?
Good morning. How are you?
Good. So we are talking about basements and crawl spaces today.
Yes.
You know, last time you were here, we were talking about winter, but it's summertime now. Totally different thing.
Sure.
What is the difference between a basement and a crawl space?
Well, I mean, the basement is a full size where they pour a foundation for a full size, where you have the furnaces and you have all of, the stairs to get down there and all of your electrical and water meters and all that. And people use it as storage, hot water heaters, laundry facilities are in a full basement. But in a crawl space, you're limited sometimes with the environment, is that you can't dig down all the way down to a full basement, where you're limited on whether it's ledge or bedrock or something like that that stops you from digging all the way down. So you're left with a crawl space. A crawl space is a very small area, but there's generally a conditioned space or a living space above that.
Okay.
On both.
And so how do you insulate one versus the other? With a crawl space, since it's not as deep, would you even insulate that? Well,
absolutely. Generally, when we go to a home, when I meet with homeowners and I ask them questions about how they're living in the house and what are the concerns are there, they generally, most times, that they say that they're in the summertime specifically, that they smell a really musty odor in their basements. And if they have a crawl space attached to that, what happens is that crawl space is generally dirt, or we call, you can have a concrete pour. So you have to be able to protect the thermal boundary of the house. So a lot of homes we go into and you see insulation in the ceiling on the crawl space, and that is falling down. Well, that falls down because the relative humidity, the moisture from the outside 90 degrees coming into a cool basement or a crawl space, is less in temperature. It's like 55 degrees. When they come together, it creates humidity, and that humidity turns into vapor. It's the same thing. It's just like, the best example I can use of that is if you take a shower and you dry off after the shower and you still feel like you're wet. That's a great example or an analogy of what happens with the environments of our homes.
Sure.
And we pay a lot of money to heat and cool our homes.
Right, exactly. So you want it done correctly to make sure that you're not wasting money. So how does Fogarty's do that installation process for both a basement and a crawl space?
Well, it's a process. So a full basement is pretty typical, right? So we have a concrete wall which is very porous. Concrete is porous, so it wicks in a lot of moisture. We're going to talk a lot about just summertime, because we can talk about wintertime anytime, or in the winter, right?
Yeah.
So in the summertime, what happens is that cool earth that's behind that foundation wall gets hit by the perimeter, the floor framing system, which is called a rim joist. Well, that 80, 90 degree humid air hits that cool basement, right? So what we have to do is we have to insulate the wood around it, the rim joists around the perimeter. We have to insulate the concrete walls. That's in a full basement. But in a crawl space, it's very typical, except when you're in a crawl space, you're inside of that 4-foot window. That is called a frost line in New England. So if I have a crawl space that's 4 feet, I've got to look at the floor aspect as well. So we've got to insulate and make sure that the thermal boundary of that. A lot of homes I see in New England have their ductwork in a crawl space or a basement, but a crawl space, it's like a hostile environment. It's really a challenge to really do this, and you can't just Band-Aid it, right? You can't just throw a bunch of pink stuff in there and expect it to give you the results that you were looking for. It takes a trained professional that asks the right questions and gives you solutions based on that. And we do that every day.
So speaking of the results that people are looking for, overall, what is that final result?
Well, the final result is no more musty odors in the basement.
That's a good thing.
That's a great thing. Humidity is reduced down below 55%, meaning that it's not going to wick any vapor. The floors are a lot more warmer in the wintertime, but also it's to really protect the space that you pay for. You pay for a basement. It's part of your real estate, right? You're paying taxes on it.
Right.
Might as well use it.
Yeah, exactly.
And the crawl space is definitely, by encapsulating your crawl space from the floor, walls, and around the perimeter, it's really, because it's attached to the basement, so you're protecting that as well. So again, there's so many different things that you can do.
Yeah.
But what we do is ask the right questions. And if we're given the correct answers, we can help you with that. but it takes time.
So where can people find you if they have questions or need something done?
Well, you can actually see me on WWLP on TV all the time.
Of course, right? Of course.
But also you can get on my website, which is going to be posted in there, or call us as well as the contact information, or see our trucks or anything. You know, we provide a very, very specific evaluation based on your concerns that you're having in your home to help you best.
It is so good having you here. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you very much.
Of course.
Bye now.
The preceding portion of Mass Appeal was sponsored by Fogarty's Home Services. For more information, visit fogartyshomeservices.com.